Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes in life, a woman has to stand alone. It's not always because she wants to, but because the people around her do not align with the depth of her soul. As you navigate this world, you will notice that many people surround themselves with others merely to fill the silence, to chase away the loneliness. But a woman who chooses to walk alone is a woman who understands her own power. There is a profound strength in choosing solitude, especially for a woman. Independence and self-sufficiency are not qualities that appear overnight. They are forged through experience, trials, and often long periods of solitude. A woman who stands on her own 2 feet without needing the constant validation of friends is not just surviving, she is thriving. She understands that her strength is not derived from the people around her, but from within herself. In a world that constantly glorifies companionship and social connections, it is easy to overlook the immense power of independence. Society often suggests that you need a tribe, a support system, or a circle of friends to navigate life successfully. However, the truth is that not everyone is meant to walk with the crowd. A woman who chooses independence has learned to rely on herself because she understands that, at the end of the day, she is the only one who will always have her back. This kind of self-sufficiency is not about rejecting relationships or distancing oneself from others. Rather, it is about recognizing that while relationships can be meaningful, they do not define her. She does not seek validation through friendships, nor does she measure her worth by the number of people surrounding her. Her sense of value is something she determines on her own, something she carries with her every single day. When challenges arise, she does not immediately seek others for answers. Instead, she turns inward, trusting her own instincts, wisdom, and past experiences. This internal strength is what separates her from those who feel lost without the support or opinions of others. A self-sufficient woman is unshakable. She does not break down when people exit her life, nor does she crumble when faced with adversity. Instead, she taps into a deep well of resilience that she has built over time. She has come to understand that the only person she can truly depend on is herself, and that knowledge is more than enough. Her resilience is not just emotional, it is also mental, physical, and spiritual. She does not rely on constant affirmation or approval from others. She makes her own choices, takes full responsibility for them, and understands that her life is entirely hers to shape. This independence is not just about being strong, it is about having the courage to stand firm in her beliefs, values, and vision for her life. It is easy to be swept up in what everyone else is doing, to follow the trends, and to conform to societal expectations. But a truly self-sufficient woman is not interested in what is easy. She is interested in what is right for her. Developing this kind of independence requires deep self-awareness and confidence, qualities that many people never develop because they are too focused on pleasing others. However, a woman who stands alone has learned to block out the noise of external expectations. She listens to her own voice, prioritizes her own needs, and makes choices that are aligned with her true self. This level of independence is not just a means of survival, it is a source of empowerment. A woman who embodies this kind of inner strength knows that she can rely on herself no matter the situation. She does not depend on others to solve her problems or guide her through life. Instead, she becomes her own guide, forging her own path, carving out her own place in the world. This self-sufficiency is rare, and it is precisely what enables her to thrive, even when she walks alone. One of the most essential aspects of independence is self-reliance, not only in decision-making but in every area of life. A self-sufficient woman learns how to care for herself, mentally, emotionally, and physically. She does not wait for someone to rescue her or fix her problems. She takes full responsibility for her happiness, health, and future. This is what makes her powerful. She is not at the mercy of anyone else. This does not mean she never seeks help or that she isolates herself from others, but when she does seek support, it is on her own terms. She is not dependent on anyone for survival or self-worth. Instead, she has built a life that she can sustain on her own, and that is an extraordinary thing. Contrary to what some might assume, this independence does not isolate her. It strengthens the relationships she chooses to maintain. A self-sufficient woman does not form relationships out of necessity or desperation. Instead, she surrounds herself with people because she values them, not because she needs them to complete her. This creates a balance and mutual respect in her relationships that many never experience. Independence offers a sense of freedom from the weight of external opinions, expectations, and judgments. It allows her to walk her own path, guided by her inner compass. A woman who has mastered this independence is never afraid to stand alone because she knows that wherever she goes, she is enough. She carries within her everything she needs to not only survive but to thrive. In a world that often equates social status with the number of connections one has, it is easy to believe that surrounding oneself with people is always beneficial. However, a woman who chooses to walk without a large social circle understands something deeper. She recognizes that the value of relationships is not determined by quantity, but by quality. It is not about how many people you have in your life, but about the authenticity, depth, and meaning of those connections. Many people chase after large social circles because they believe it gives them a sense of worth. They equate popularity with self-value, believing that the more friends they have, the more validated they will feel. However, this pursuit often leads to shallow, fleeting relationships that provide temporary comfort but lack true substance. A woman who understands the importance of meaningful connections is different. She knows that not everyone deserves access to her time, energy, or life. Friendship is not about being surrounded by a crowd of acquaintances who barely know you. It is about having a select few who truly understand and support you. She seeks depth over surface-level interactions, meaningful conversations over small talk. She values people who see her for who she truly is, not just for what she can provide in a moment. This approach to relationships requires a different kind of strength. It is easy to fill one's life with acquaintances, to keep people around just to avoid solitude. But it takes wisdom to recognize that genuine connections are rare and cannot be forced. A woman who values quality over quantity in her relationships understands that it is far better to have one or two real friends than to be surrounded by 100 superficial ones. She is not interested in the illusion of connection. She is invested in the reality of it. Choosing quality also means having the strength to let go. People will come and go in life, and not every connection is meant to last forever. A woman who values depth over numbers understands this. She does not cling to relationships that no longer serve her. She does not hold on out of fear of being alone. She is confident enough to release what no longer aligns with her journey, even if that means having fewer people around her. Walking away from relationships, especially those with history, is never easy. However, holding on to toxic, draining, or unfulfilling connections only hinders growth. A woman who prioritizes meaningful connections knows that it is far better to walk alone than to stay surrounded by people who do not genuinely care for her well-being. She understands that protecting her peace, her energy, and her mental space is far more important than maintaining the mere appearance of friendship. This perspective also shapes how she approaches new relationships. She does not rush into friendships for the sake of filling a void. She is patient, taking her time to understand people's intentions and to determine whether they align with her values. She does not expect perfection but seeks authenticity. If a relationship feels forced or unbalanced, she is unafraid to step back. She knows that true connection cannot be fabricated, and she is willing to wait for the right people to come into her life. By choosing depth over numbers, a woman frees herself from the pressure to conform. She is not swayed by society's expectations or the illusion that more always means better. Instead, she builds a life rich with meaning, strength, and authenticity, whether she walks alone or with a few by her side. Society often measures success by the number of friends one has, how frequently they are invited to social gatherings, and how connected they appear to be. However, a woman who prioritizes quality over quantity understands that this kind of validation is superficial. She is not concerned with keeping up appearances, but is instead focused on cultivating meaningful relationships that bring true value to her life. In moments of quiet solitude, when she is alone with her thoughts, she does not feel lonely. That is because the few connections she has are rich, fulfilling, and deeply genuine. These are the people she can depend on during difficult times, the ones who will stand by her side no matter what. She does not require a large social circle to feel secure, as the relationships she holds are more than enough. This mindset also enables her to be truly present for the people who matter most to her. When someone stretches themselves thin, attempting to maintain numerous surface-level friendships, it becomes challenging to give undivided attention to anyone. But when a woman prioritizes quality, she has the energy and time to genuinely invest in those who enrich her life. She is able to be there in a meaningful way, just as those select few are there for her. This dynamic creates a bond rooted in trust, mutual respect, and a profound understanding that cannot be found in fleeting, shallow connections. Valuing depth over numbers is not just a philosophy applied to friendships. It is a way of life. It means recognizing that not everything that shines is truly valuable. It is about choosing meaning over mere appearances and authenticity over social approval. A woman who embraces this truth is not influenced by the temptation of popularity or the need for external validation. She confidently follows her own path, knowing that the few genuine relationships she has hold more worth than 100 hollow ones. She understands that the true measure of connection is not quantity but depth, and it is the richness of these relationships that truly enhances her life. Self-reflection and personal development are crucial forces in a woman's journey, and solitude provides the perfect space for them to thrive. When a woman finds herself without an abundance of friends, she is presented with an opportunity that many people overlook, the chance to truly understand herself on a deeper level. Friendships, while valuable, often come with distractions, obligations, and external influences. In contrast, solitude grants her an uninterrupted space where she can focus entirely on her personal growth, free from the expectations and pressures of others. During this period, self-reflection becomes a powerful tool, sharpening her awareness of her strengths, aspirations, and ability to navigate life independently. In a world that is constantly filled with noise and an endless stream of social interaction, it is easy to lose sight of who one truly is. Many people define themselves based on their relationships, the role they play as a friend, a daughter, or a partner. But when these roles are momentarily stripped away, what remains? This is where the beauty of solitude lies. Without external pressures dictating her identity, a woman is left to confront her true self. This time alone presents an opportunity to ask fundamental questions. What do I truly desire? What do I believe in? Who am I when no one else is watching? These questions are not simple, nor are they always comfortable, but they are necessary. They require a level of honesty that many people shy away from. Yet a woman in solitude does not have the luxury of avoidance. She faces herself with courage and introspection. Self-reflection is not about self-criticism. It is about looking inward with curiosity and self-compassion. It involves examining experiences, exploring dreams, confronting fears, and understanding personal motivations. This process can be uncomfortable, but it is also transformative. Through deep introspection, she begins to recognize patterns in her behavior, identify emotional triggers, and acknowledge both her strengths and areas for growth. In the absence of constant social interactions, she gains clarity about herself in a way that may not have been possible before. There are no distractions pulling her attention away, no need to perform for others, and no outside forces shaping her decisions. In this solitude, she finally hears her own voice, clearly and without interference. This clarity is crucial because, in the whirlwind of social interactions, it is easy for one's inner voice to be drowned out by the opinions, expectations, and judgments of others. But in solitude, that voice becomes distinct, and it carries wisdom. As she listens, she comes to understand that personal growth is not a singular event but an ongoing journey. Every challenge, every setback, and every experience offers an opportunity for learning and evolution. This period of solitude becomes fertile ground for profound self-discovery and development. Without the influence of peers shaping her perspectives, she begins to form her own, unfiltered and authentic. This independence of thought is liberating, empowering her to view the world through her own unique lens rather than through the collective expectations of a group. Moreover, this time alone allows her to confront unresolved emotions and unaddressed struggles. At times, people use friendships as a means of distraction, an escape from facing their own insecurities, emotional wounds, or unfulfilled aspirations. However, without external diversions, a woman must face these truths head-on. This process of self-examination may be difficult, but it is also profoundly healing. By addressing past pain, letting go of outdated narratives, and embracing a future unburdened by unresolved emotions, she moves forward with greater clarity and strength. Another profound realization that emerges from solitude is the recognition of her own resilience. Without a vast social network to rely on, she discovers her inner capacity to navigate life's challenges on her own terms. She becomes more self-sufficient, more adaptable, and more confident in her ability to handle life's ups and downs. She no longer feels dependent on external validation or support because she has cultivated a deep, unwavering trust in herself. This self-trust is one of the most invaluable assets a person can possess, and once a woman attains it, she becomes truly unstoppable. However, self-reflection is not solely about overcoming difficulties. It is also about acknowledging and celebrating personal achievements. In the quiet of solitude, she can reflect on how far she has come, recognizing her successes without feeling the need to downplay them or seek external affirmation. She can take pride in her growth, her resilience, and the unique qualities that define her. This process of self-acknowledgement reinforces self-worth, strengthening the understanding that she is enough, just as she is. Through this journey of introspection, a woman also gains clarity about her future. She sets goals that align with her true desires, rather than ones shaped by societal pressures or external expectations. She becomes more intentional about the life she wishes to build, the career she aspires to pursue, and the kind of relationships she wants to cultivate. Without the influence of friends dictating a particular path, she is free to forge her own, guided by her values and aspirations. Ultimately, personal growth does not solely occur in the presence of others. In fact, some of the most profound transformations happen in solitude. It is in these quiet moments of reflection, reassessment, and self-renewal that she rebuilds herself from the inside out. This growth is neither loud nor dramatic. It is a steady, quiet evolution that shapes her into the person she is meant to become. Solitude, rather than being a sign of lack, becomes a gift, offering her the space for self-exploration, healing, and personal transformation that cannot be found in the constant noise of the outside world. A woman without a large social circle does not lack connection. She has cultivated the most vital connection of all, the one she has with herself. One of the most empowering truths a woman can embrace is that she does not need to conform to society's expectations to live a fulfilling life. By choosing to walk a path that does not rely on widespread social validation, she rejects the idea that her worth is defined by the number of people she surrounds herself with. Society often equates social standing with popularity, but a woman who embraces solitude understands that these metrics are hollow. Her value is not determined by how often she is seen in social circles, but by her character, her mind, her strength, and her heart. Living authentically means recognizing that conformity is a trap. It is easy to fall into the habit of pleasing others and adhering to societal norms rather than following one's true path. But a woman who is secure in her solitude has freed herself from these limitations. She no longer plays a role dictated by external expectations. She is writing her own story, fully and unapologetically. Defining her own path and living on her own terms, this decision to embrace authenticity often follows a period of deep self-reflection and growth. A woman who has spent significant time alone, truly getting to know herself, understands the immense value of staying true to who she is. She realizes that attempting to conform to societal norms only results in frustration, dissatisfaction, and a sense of disconnect from her true essence. By stepping away from the crowd and fully embracing her individuality, she finds herself more aligned with her purpose, her passions, and her personal ambitions. The liberation that comes from disregarding societal pressures is profound. When she stops concerning herself with the opinions of others, she is finally able to focus on what genuinely holds significance in her life. She no longer requires external validation to feel secure, nor does she feel the need to follow the crowd to experience a sense of belonging. She stands firm in her choices, even when they lead her down an unconventional path, deviating from what society has mapped out for her. This unwavering confidence empowers her to remain steadfast in her decisions, even when they challenge the status quo. Choosing to live authentically does not imply rejecting social connections or isolating oneself from the world. Rather, it means being intentional about who she welcomes into her life. She surrounds herself with individuals who appreciate her for who she is, not for who they expect her to be. She prioritizes relationships rooted in mutual understanding, respect, and honesty over those based on superficiality or convenience. By curating her circle with care, she cultivates a life enriched with genuine connection and profound meaning, even if that circle remains small. Embracing authenticity also involves accepting that her journey will not mirror anyone else's. Society often imposes rigid timelines. By a particular age, she is expected to have a certain number of friendships, a specific social life, and particular accomplishments. However, a woman who refuses to be constrained by these expectations understands that life does not adhere to a universal blueprint. She acknowledges the uniqueness of her path and fully embraces it. She does not feel the pressure to measure her progress against someone else's milestones. Instead, she remains devoted to her own personal growth, happiness, and fulfillment. This shift in perspective is immensely empowering, enabling her to live with integrity. No longer making decisions based on external pressures, she chooses what genuinely resonates with her. This level of self-assurance grants her peace, freeing her from the constant struggle to meet unrealistic standards. She does not feel the need to present a facade or alter herself to fit into predefined molds. Instead, she moves through the world as her authentic self, unapologetically, and in doing so, she attracts the right people and opportunities into her life. The moment a woman commits to living authentically, she unknowingly becomes an inspiration to others. Whether she realizes it or not, her courage to live life on her own terms serves as a guiding light for those still navigating their own paths. By defying societal pressures and standing firm in her truth, she silently grants others permission to do the same. This ripple effect holds immense power, encouraging more people to question the norms imposed upon them and embrace their individuality with confidence. Authentic living is deeply rooted in self-trust, the trust that she knows what is best for her life, even if it differs from the lives unfolding around her. It is an unwavering understanding that her worth is not contingent on external factors, but comes from within. A woman who embarks on this journey comprehends that she does not need validation from friends, society, or anyone else to recognize her own value. She carries an intrinsic sense of self-worth, unshaken by external approval. The choice to live authentically, without succumbing to conformity, is an ultimate act of self-love. It is a declaration that her happiness, her inner peace, and her sense of purpose hold more significance than adhering to societal expectations. In choosing this path, she discovers